Good morning, guys. Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about the backend and how to program the backend. It's not the easiest subject, but I hope you can understand it. It will not be short, so it will be long. It doesn't mean that today we have more than 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but you have to expect at least 3-4 lessons, which is going to deal with the backend. The first stuff we have to mention is that to create the backend, we are going to use a Springboot application. So if you go back to the lessons earlier, you could see what I drew on the board. Let me show you. So to write the backend, we are going to use the Springboot framework. The framework is actually a collection of different libraries, including a lot of methods and functions we can use. So this is already a pre-written Java framework. That means the functions which are included here should not be written again, but we can use that in our own application. That's why the different frameworks make our lives much easier, because we don't have to write everything from scratch. So that's why we are using the Springboot here. Anyway, so if you look to the right, to the left, sorry, then you see that we have different Java versions like Java Standard Edition and Java Enterprise Edition. In today's lesson, we are going to talk about the Java EE, because we are creating a web application, and the web application includes Java EE elements. So don't forget that Spring Boot and Java EE perspective is going to be used here at this lesson. Okay, so let's see the practical stuff. So basically you will need the Eclipse as an IDE, which is a code editor. So we can put the code here in the Eclipse IDE. So therefore you need to download it. It doesn't matter which version of Eclipse you download. There are lots, more than 10 versions. You can just download it, choose the EE option when you download it, and then you can have the Java Enterprise Edition perspective, right? So how can you check that? Basically, it's very easy, because when you come here to the right and then you see this little icon on the right hand side at the top, which says Open Perspective. When you click on it, then you can see a lot of perspectives here listed, and then you see the simple Java perspective and the Java EE perspective. So you just need to click on the Java EE perspective and then click on Open, and basically that will open the Java EE perspective. Why is that needed for us? It's needed because, as I mentioned, we are going to use a web-based application, which means the code we are creating here should be deployed on a server. And here below you will see a server tab, and this server tab will show up only in the EE perspective, not on the Java Simple Edition perspective. Okay, we discussed that, and if you click on the other icon here on the right hand side, and you will see I am in the Java EE perspective at the moment. So that means we are able to create a code for web-based applications at the moment. Right, so the next step is, because if you see this the first time, probably you will have nothing here. So that means I can see the Tomcat server, because I already downloaded the Tomcat server, and I will show you now how to do that. So if you go online and then you open up a tab in Google, and then you write here download Tomcat 9, let's say that's the version 9, and then here you have a lot of different links. appearing, but you have to make sure that actually you choose a very secure link, which is the company's link, which produces Tomcat. So that's Apache, and so apache.org, actually that's a good one. So if you choose that, you will have the chance to download the Tomcat server. So let's see what's going on here. So if you click on it, you can see the Tomcat server, and if you have a Windows machine, you have to choose the 64-bit Windows zip, or if you have another machine like Macintosh or Linux based, then you have to choose another one which is related to that. So once you click on it, then you have to see a zip file downloaded, and you have to put it in a folder. I already did that, so let me show that. So here you can see here is the Apache zip file, which I already downloaded before, but you have to right click on it, and if you have this 7-zip program installed, then you have a menu point which says to you extract here. So you need just to click on extract here, and then you will get something like that. That's exactly the same, only it's the extracted form. So when you click on it, then you see the different Apache Tomcat files which are needed right now, so that we can integrate it into the Eclipse IDE. So make sure that you download the Tomcat version 9 or newer, and then from this point on, then we can actually integrate it right now. So if you go back here and you click on the link, you will see here you still don't have the Tomcat. You click on it, and then you will see a panel coming up, and this panel shows you just to choose a server. So you will have a list, and then choose the Tomcat version 9, and finally click OK, and the Tomcat server will be installed, and then you will be able to use that here in the IDE. Okay, so as you see now, the Tomcat is stopped. So that means the Tomcat is using a port. The port is 8080, and we are at localhost, which means this is a server, but it's running on our own machine. So no one else in the internet can access to our local server, only us. So that's important to understand. So basically, let's check if it's working at the moment. So when we open up a new tab, and we write down localhost, and we use the port 8080, right? Because that's the port on which the server is running. So, and we click enter, and then we should see nothing. You see this site can't be reached because the Tomcat server is not started. So that's why we don't see anything here on localhost. So the next step is basically we come back here, and then we right click on this Tomcat server, and then there is a start option. So we choose the start option, and then the Tomcat server is booting up. So it's going to be working in a few seconds, and then we'll check the browser again what we see. So here, if you come to localhost 8080, and then as you see now something changed, because we don't see the former message, but we see a brand new message, this HTTP status 404. It seems to be as if it didn't work. No, it's not the case. Basically, it's working fine, only we didn't place any material on the server yet. That's why we see this message. So now you guys learned how to integrate a Tomcat server into the IDE. That's the first step, and how you can start a server and stop a server. So when you right click again, you don't need the server, you can stop it here. So either you start it or you stop it. So it depends on what you do. Okay, now it started, so it's running. And what's the next step? So the next step is basically when you go onto the internet right here, and you go on this page start.spring.io. This is a very important page because here you have a Spring initializer. Don't forget, at the beginning we're talking about Springboot as a framework. Therefore, we need a Springboot project. And what we do now, we will create a Springboot Java project. So we don't have to write it from scratch, but we have this web-based application Spring initializer. And here you choose the project type. The project type can be here Maven or Gradle. Actually, the Maven one is good. Don't forget here, before we were talking about the different build tools, Maven, Gradle, or Ant. And Maven is the one we are choosing here in this course. So that's why I am offering you just to pick Maven project. And the language in which we are writing the code is Java, although we have two other options like the Kotlin or Groovy, but we don't want to choose these two, only the Java. And the Spring Boot version should be then 2.2.6, that's fine. And the project metadata group is com.example. Later I will explain what these mean. I mean the group, the artifact, but at the moment you can leave it the way it is. So leave it com.example, and the artifact can be demo and name demo, and the description should be the same like here. The package name consists of the group name and the artifact name, so it should be the com.example.demo as you see here. And the packaging type should be jar. So it can be war. Later on we are discussing what's the difference between a jar and the war file. And the Java version you are using can be 8. So once you are done with that, you can generate, you click generate, and then you will see a file downloading. And when you open up this file and extract it in a folder, I did that, let me show you. I have here this in the Spring Boot sample folder. I called it demo2 application, and you see the demo.zip which was downloading. So once you extract that, you get the demo here. So, and here is the project, which is Java Spring Boot application project. So the next step is that when you open up your IDE, you have to just open up this project here in this IDE. So click on the file menu and open project from the file system, and then choose the one we saw here. Choose this one, the demo2, and then you will see the different files loading in, and then you will see the whole code in your IDE. That's very important. And then here, let's see the file structure, what it looks like. So one of the most important one is this source, the src, right? Don't deal with the other ones at the moment because they are not that important. But for us, the most important is the src. So here we have two folders, the main and the test. Let's open up both. Here only the Java and the com and the example, and the demo and the demo application.java, and then right here the application.properties, and then you can open these things, and then you will see the files. So we can see here 3 different files. Let's discuss what they are. So don't forget, this is a Spring Boot application project, but on the other hand, this is also a Maven project. So when someone wants to create a new Java project and clicks on the file and the new, then you have different options. And as you see, here is the Maven. So somebody could choose the Maven project, for instance. But how can you see that here? The first step is you have to integrate the Maven plugin here in the IDE. So please look it up on the internet how to do that, because if you don't have that, you won't see the Maven project here. So make sure that the plugin is integrated in the IDE. So you can do it anyway here in the window and in the help and the Eclipse marketplace, and then you can integrate it there, and then you can choose the Maven project. So here, this is a Maven structure. This is the folder types. This is a very strict structure, so like src main java com example demo. So this should be in this order so that Maven can comprehend and these files and can make a build finally. So if you go into the demo application Java, you can see that this is a Springboot application. Here we see the annotation. That's an annotation. Why is that called annotation? Because this @ sign is here that makes it annotation. And here is the name of the main application, and that's the demo application and the main function you can see right here. So, and here's how you can start the application. Once we will create all the files, it's very easy to run because you right click on the project here, and then you will say run as, and when you say run as here, and then you say run configurations, and then here you can choose the server, the Tomcat server, and click on run, and it's going to run. Right now it's grayed out because I already started the server, but if I stop the server, this will be active again and I can click on the run button, no problem. So that's how the application file looks like. So that's the main file. If we click on the application properties, it's still empty, but we'll fill it up later on. And the Java test file, we won't talk about that at the moment. And one of the most important files is this one, is the POM file, because that's the configuration file of this project. So that's one of the most important ones. Here you can see, some metadata which we filled out before, and then you can see the dependencies. What are the dependencies? The dependencies actually are different Java packages, Java files we are using, but these were not created by us. It was created earlier, and we just want to use the functions, the methods from these different packages. So what we do is we include them here in the POM file as a dependency, and then we refer to the artifact ID. So, and once we create a Maven build, you will see that later, not now, not today. When we create the Maven build, actually we have access to these different files, and we can use the different functions from those files. That's why we need the different dependencies in this application. So we have more here. So that's the first dependency, that's the second dependency, and then we can include much more. So don't worry if you don't understand everything here at the moment, so you will later. So just you have to understand the structure, what a Maven structure looks like. So this folder structure and the main files, and also the POM file, which is one of the most important ones. Okay, so that's what I wanted to discuss today. So let's summarize what we have done and why we have done that. So we downloaded the Eclipse IDE. We also downloaded the Tomcat server. We integrated the Tomcat server into the IDE. Then we created a Springboot application with the Springboot initializer here on this website. We downloaded that into zip file, we extracted that, and we just imported that extracted project, the Springboot project, into the IDE so that we can add some more files so that our backend application will be done in a few lessons time. Thank you very much for your attention today. That was it. And then next time we are going to continue with creating the controller and you will understand why we need a controller and how we can connect the database with the backend application. Thanks again, enjoy your day, and see you next time. Bye.